talking away. I don't know what I'm to say. I'll say anyway. Today's another day to find you shining away. I'll be coming for your love, okay? Take on me. Take me on. I'll be gone in a day or two. So needless to say, I'm odds and ends, but I'm me, stumbling away. Slowly learning that life is okay. Say after me, it's no better to be safe than sorry. Take on me. Take me on. I'll be gone in a day or two. Welcome to another exciting episode of the Unrelenting Alchemist, all spiritual all the time. I want to talk to you about the brain and the heart in the matters of spirit. Spiritual neuroscience is an emerging interdisciplinary field that investigates the connections between the brain and spiritual experiences, bridging the gap between cognitive science, neurobiology, and spirituality. This domain seeks to understand how neural circuits facilitate states such as transcendence, compassion, awe, and even interconnectedness. It asks foundational questions. How does the brain generate spiritual insights? What brain regions light up during prayer, during meditation, or even mystical union? The temporal and parietal lobes, particularly the right temporal lobe, are often implicated in spiritual and mystical experiences. Functional MRI or fMRI scans show activation in the posterior superior parietal lobe during deep meditation, a region that is believed to modulate the sense of self and spatial boundaries. When these boundaries dissolve, people report feeling at one with the universe. Dr. Andrew Newberg's work on neurotheology explores how brain activity during religious rituals corresponds with subjective experiences of divine presence. His studies show decreased activity in the orientation association area during meditation, reinforcing the experience of timelessness and egolessness. Similarly, gamma wave surges, typically associated with higher states of awareness, have been recorded in Tibetan monks during their deep states of compassion as well as emptiness. Such findings support the idea that spiritual practices sculpt the brain. Neuroplasticity ensures that repeated spiritual discipline can rewire neural pathways, strengthen our empathy, our intuition, and even our emotional regulation. The brain, then, is not merely a processor. It becomes a transducer of higher consciousness. So let's go to mystical consciousness. Mystical consciousness transcends ordinary awareness and immerses individuals in a profound experience of unity, light, and divine knowing, often induced through meditation, fasting, chanting, or even spontaneous revelation. Disrupts linear cognition and evokes a non-dual, luminous awareness. William James, in his seminal work, The Varieties of Religious Experience, described mystical consciousness as characterized by ineffability, noetic quality, transience, and even passivity. These altered states provide deep insights into the structure of reality itself, the nature of the self, and the presence of a divine intelligence. Modern neuroscience identifies the default mode network, DMN, as a key player. When disrupted, often through psychedelics or even intense contemplative practice, the DMN's usual sense-making and identity processing functions are suspended. This paves the way for mystical absorption and union. Mystical consciousness is central to many spiritual traditions. Sufis speak of fana, the annihilation of self and God. Christian mystics like Teresa of Avila describe interior castles and union with the divine. In Advaita Vedanta, Brahman consciousness is pure awareness beyond subject-object duality. Mystical consciousness reveals that the mind can become a mirror of the divine. Rather than producing consciousness, the brain may act as a filter that, when relaxed, allows the light of spirit to shine through. So let's go into intuition and prophecy. These two occupy a liminal space between cognition and revelation. Intuition is the subtle knowing that arises without linear reasoning. Prophecy is an oracular, often sudden transmission of insight concerning future events or hidden truths. Both may stem from the subconscious, as well as the superconscious realms. Intuitive flashes often arise from the integration of unconscious data, microexpressions, body language, symbolic associations, processed below conscious awareness. Prophetic insight, however, may tap into non-local information fields. Neurobiologically, the insula and the ventromedial prefrontal cortex both play roles in intuitive decision-making. The heart-brain axis also contributes. The HeartMath Institute has shown that the heart's electromagnetic field often detects stimuli milliseconds before the brain does. Throughout history, prophetic individuals have emerged during crises and transitions. Look at the Hebrew prophets, the Black Elk, the Oracle of Delphi, and even Mother Shipton, when they channeled warnings, guidance, and revelations. In contemporary times, many reports, dreams, or visions presage global events or personal transformations. These gifts are not limited to a chosen few. With spiritual discipline, clarity, and humility, anyone can cultivate the capacity to hear the still small voice of divine wisdom. Let's talk about neurodivergent spirituality. Neurodivergent individuals often report heightened spiritual sensitivity. Those on the autism spectrum, those with ADHD, bipolar disorder, or even other neurodivergent profiles may experience reality in ways that lend themselves to unusual perceptual and spiritual experiences. Temple Grandin has spoken about her visual spatial genius as a form of intuitive seeing. Others describe intense connections with animals, nature, or energetic fields. The rhythmic pattern thinking of some autistic individuals can resonate deeply with sacred geometry or chant-based meditation. Historically, neurodivergent seers were often viewed as shamans or mystics. Their alternate perception allowed them to serve as bridges between realms. In some indigenous cultures, epileptic seizures were seen as spirit journeys, not pathologies. Modern psychology must evolve beyond pathologizing difference. Many neurodivergent people possess the ability to detect subtle energy shifts, channel symbolic information, or even communicate with guides and archetypes. Their divergence becomes a portal to sacred cognition. Spiritual paths that embrace neurodiversity can offer powerful tools, such as breath work, nature immersion, somatic regulation, and creative visualization, to support their flourishing. What about the oracular brain? The concept of the oracular brain posits that the human brain is a divine instrument capable of receiving, decoding, and transmitting sacred information. It echoes ancient traditions in which seers, prophets, and mystics tune their minds to a divine frequency. The pineal gland, long associated with the third eye, is often cited as the biological seat of this particular function. While the full capabilities of the pineal remain unknown, it regulates circadian rhythms and is implicated in melatonin and possibly DMT production. When the brain is in coherence, particularly in alpha and gamma states, it may be more receptive to archetypal and symbolic data. Carl Jung's idea of the collective unconscious implies that the brain has access to ancestral memory, as well as mythic resonance. The oracular brain bridges science and spirit. It is activated by stillness, focused intention, and deep presence. Practices like automatic writing, active imagination, and divination are methods to allow this inner oracle to speak. In this view, prophecy is not external imposition, but it's a source of internal revelation. The sacred intelligence of the cosmos speaks through our neural circuitry when aligned with the heart and spirit. Now let's switch up a little bit and go into technospirituality. This is the intersection of spiritual evolution and technological advancement. As artificial intelligence, brain-computer interfaces, and immersive digital realities are evolving, so too must our understanding of consciousness and divinity. The risks of technospirituality include the artificial replication of spiritual experiences, even digital addictions, and the replacement of inner wisdom with some sort of algorithmic suggestion. However, the promises are equally vast. augmented meditation tools, AI-guided shadow work, and virtual sacred spaces. Neurofeedback devices now help practitioners enter deeper states of meditation more efficiently. Apps like Waking Up and Insight Timer use cognitive science to support spiritual growth. Digital twins and AI oracles may, in the future, simulate inner guides. Biohacking through nootropics and electrical stimulation seeks to elevate consciousness, but what it must be rooted in is ethical frameworks. Without wisdom, technology becomes noise, not signal. The mystic of the future must be tech savvy and soul centered, navigating the digital and metaphysical realms with extreme discernment. Now let's talk about sacred symbolism. Symbols are the language of the soul. From dreams to rituals, art to architecture, sacred symbols organize consciousness, encode wisdom, and facilitate transcendence. The brain is a pattern recognition organ. It seeks coherence, meaning, and resonance. Symbols like the cross, the mandala, the spiral, or the tree of life evoke deep neurocognitive and emotional responses. Carl Jung emphasized the power of archetypes, universal symbols embedded in the collective unconscious. These forms appear in dreams, myths, and spiritual visions. The Ouroboros, serpent eating its tail, symbolizes eternal return. The lotus evokes purity and enlightenment. Sacred geometry provides visual representations of cosmic order. The flower of life, Metatron's cube, and the golden ratio are not just aesthetic. They mirror the fundamental architecture of reality and the mind's own processing structure. Engaging with sacred symbols in ritual, meditation, and dream work helps to activate the symbolic brain. It strengthens intuition, integrates shadow, and aligns us with divine archetypes. In essence, sacred symbols remind us that we are not separate from the cosmos, but we are rather living hieroglyphs inscribed with deep spiritual intelligence. Thank you for joining me in the Sacred Hour. This has been the Unrelenting Alchemist. Until next time, walk wisely, walk bravely, and when the dark calls, answer not with fear, but with fire and light. Thank you.
And if I don't see you, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I love you.